down, it's time for the Broham's brews to shine. Sip it slow and take a seat. Join the chat, life's bittersweet.
This is Broham's Chugging Brews. Hi, my name's Fidel, and I'm here with my special guest, Chef Jonathan.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
So today we're going over Ranger Craft or hard charged teas. First one will be Raz Pop. So where did your love for cooking, where did it all start? What age? Was there any influences?
So it started when non-professionally I was 15 and a half. So I was born and raised in the South Bay. I started working in Yoshinoya in a fast food restaurant. So I was a prep cook, but the reason why I started working there was more of a thing where, I needed money through, like you're young and you're building yourself to be like a grown adult, right?
Right.
Still going to high school, skateboarding with the friends and everything, doing like your kid activities, So I started there throughout high school. To be honest, I wasn't really a person that enjoyed being in school, things like that, So a lot of the stuff was more like I had a different career path, meaning like I didn't know what I was gonna do. So after I was maybe I would say in a senior in high school, things had to get a little bit more serious with school and stuff. I was behind with a lot of things. So I was like, hey, you know what? Like, maybe I might pursue this whole cooking stuff. Like, let me go apply for a job. So I went to go apply at some job in Torrance. I'm gonna say the restaurant's name.
Yeah.
But I showed them my resume and I was like, hey, dude, like I'm here. I wanna apply as a like whatever position you have. Like I have good experience in cooking. I was already within like 2 years already working at Yoshinoya, and they were just like, oh, let me see your resume. They looked at it, they seen it, and they were like, hey, dude, like they laughed at me. They were like, this is fast food, is not professional style cooking.
Wow.
They called the general manager, the executive chef, and the bar manager, and they kind of just laughed at me. And then after that, I feel like out of that anger built that spark for me to enroll into culinary school, like after I was done with high school, and I got my associate's degree in culinary arts.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, it sucks that you had to go through that. They created that catalyst to make you who you are today.
Yeah, almost. For sure.
I mean, we don't want to give them credit, but
yeah, for sure.
So, what do you say we taste this and then you decided we chug?
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
It reminds me of like a raspberry iced tea, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you want to try it? We could chug it.
Let's chug it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, so what's a process of like creating a new recipe?
So with that being said, so for me, when creating a whole recipe, it falls into hand in hand with obviously I'm a chef and owner for restaurants, so it becomes how a constant battle with myself, like how you want to create something innovative and creative, but also on the back end where the numbers come in hand, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Those numbers have to make sense to create profits, right? And if those numbers don't make sense, and that's the big thing how I tell people why a lot of good restaurants close that are owned by chefs, right? Because you could be very creative and create really good food, but if you don't take a step back and analyze the business part of it, the numbers game, because at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. And I tell people that all the time. If your margins and your numbers are not there, you have to fix them, take a step back, oversee the big picture of it, and just go from there, where it becomes a thing where, okay, like, let me try to create something where it's not too hard for our buck, but we're still able to make some profit out of it, and
Yes.
also something different for the neighborhood. So the way I create something, I depends on the restaurant and the neighborhood I'm at. I go about like what the neighborhood has to offer and kind of, see how I could do a little elevated version of certain things. So one of our restaurants that we have that's 5 minutes away from here, it's a taqueria. So the way we started with that one, it was creating a concept where it was, how can we elevate the taco? How can we bring some justice into Mexican cuisine, right? Because you think of Mexican food, a lot of people think Mexican food is cheap.
Right.
When I first started, I was doing like pork belly tacos. This was 2016. So 2016 in the culinary field to what it is now is not. It wasn't very respectful, or it was very looked down upon, and it almost became a thing where people would look at the taco, and we were, like, you remove the tortilla, and like the way we were plating things up, like as a pork belly or beef cheek, we were presenting stuff like duck confit. It was very different, but unique in its own way, where at the moment we had to educate people. So I was doing, let's just say, like a duck confit taco. So duck confit meaning carnitas. So like a duck carnitas taco, where like your duck cost per pound, you're getting it at 12 something a pound, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to getting a different cut of like, this meal where you're probably getting it for back then like 4 something a pound. So we were just to educate people on what we were trying to create, what we were trying to do. We downside our sales per taco for $2. Like every taco across the line was $2, just to kind of make people, try the taco and give them an experience, right? Because I feel at the end of the day, like, we're in a hospitality industry, so we want to provide the best experience as possible to the client, right?
Yes.
And as they grew, that was kind of like the beginnings, kind of our battles within the, like people understanding what we were trying to create. But as long as I tell people, right, as my job as a chef and as an owner is to create a good experience, to educate people, and 3, we're, again, like I mentioned, we're in a hospitality industry, so we have to be very catered to the customer as well, and kind of give feedbacks too, because you only grow with people's honest feedbacks and stuff. And like I tell people, like, you don't know it all, especially if you're providing a service to the neighborhood and to your community. Why not ask for that feedback where it's gonna obviously be positive for the best, for your restaurant and stuff, so that's kind of how that started with the whole taqueria, trying to create the whole elevated version of it, justifying how a taco could be at $5-6,
Right. Because I know,
like 6 years ago,
yeah.
you have like down the street in the taqueria that they saw like tacos de lengua or tacos de cabeza or something for like a buck or 79 cents, but people don't understand like the difference, as in like we're giving you something, that's unique. But, and that's why I felt within myself with the whole Mexican food, I had almost like I took it upon myself to create something where how you could justify the price of Mexican food, right? Because if you think about it, like our tortillas, lemon, sal, cal, the whole nixtamalization for the corn, when you create pasta, eggs, flour, water, bread as well, flour, water. So how is it that French food, Italian food, they could charge top dollar for things, and Mexican food doesn't get that recognition? When you look at how big Mexico is and the 32 states of different unique food that Mexico has to offer, and some of these techniques that you don't find anywhere else, where you see nowadays chefs are turning into modernized Mexican food and creating a very good culinary experience, where back in the day, that's what I was trying to strive for and aim for, where people could come and be like, hey, you know what, like, we're paying this much for our Mexican food, tacos or whatever, but it's justifiable because at the end it was some knowledge behind it as well.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, it sucks that they look at Mexican food as being street food.
Yeah.
They want the cheap, and
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally. I mean, we all can understand that struggle.
And the thing with that too, right? Which I understand that as well. And I get it, maybe our parents or first generations, when they came to provide that service, like let's just say like a street vendor, that's just you're providing an income for your household, so I understand that part of it too. They were just setting the bar for like a survival, so I understand
Right,
that,
right.
so like I tell people too, like with food you tell a story, right? So if you see some of these different taqueros or different food vendors, they obviously do different food, different styles of like their version of it. And why? Because it's their comfort of what they have to offer,
Nice, nice. So then, what would you say is the most? Well, let's get into our next drink.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
right.
finish this one up, and before I ask the next question, so we'll use a new cup every time, so we don't
Yeah.
keep the flavors lemon basic flavor. So I'm hoping it's good. So you can hear that pop. So far, what has been like the most fulfilling part of your restaurants, being a chef, coming all the way from Yoshinoya?
Honestly, I mean, like I tell people, I'm just very grateful to be able to, showcase my food to people and showcase, what my brand's about, what my flavors are about, and how I tell people, just being able to kind of provide that service for people could understand, like, hey, like this is what we're doing within the community, so I feel just things like that, or even creating jobs for people that are trying to do the same thing but they didn't have the proper guidance. As when I was young and somebody laughed at me, like, if somebody was to come up to me, like I do a lot of work for like the Boys and Girls Club. I do cooking demos for kids, even at the Plaza de Arte de Cortura, like work hand in hand with students as well, and just creating that experience where if I did it and I came from the same upbringings as you guys, we could all grow, and then I feel that within within ourselves, some people that we're climbing up, we almost feel like, hey, like I'm competing with this person, but it shouldn't be like that. Like you should compete within yourself. Every 24 hours you have a new day for you to better and create all these better, like from the day before, what couldn't you get done that you feel. For me, I know at the end of the day I reflect on everything I've done or everything I did and what I could have done better, so just things like that, just like creating that stuff for your own self.
Yeah, I've heard the expression, you can make or break yourself in 24 hours.
Yeah,
So.
Let's try this one. Cheers.
Trying a chug, or you tell me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
little taste first and then a chug.
Okay.
I mean, I could taste the lemonade, but it does taste
Yeah. I mean,
it's not the best.
Yeah, it's
but
like
you can tell they tried.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. I think the other one was a little better, the Raz Pop.
Yeah. I mean, this one's like you said, it's just like the standard, maybe like the standard.
Yeah, the standard lemon flavor. Just no surprises. These are all 7%, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. You want to chug?
Let's do a chug. Cheers. Doing a chug for Broham's Chug and Brews. What is the most difficult part of running all these businesses and events and stuff,
I mean, I know I could speak for myself. I know timing. For me, I feel like I don't have
Never enough
time to be able to be at all my locations. I do my best to try to be there and try to create some sort of like schedule where I could, like coordinate myself. But at the end of the day, it's just like so much.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but overall though, if you're able to do it, I tell people there's no better way than working for yourself and working to create your dream come true. You know, like if you're already doing a 9 to 5, accomplishing somebody else's dream, why not do it for yourself?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I would say that's kind of the hardest part, for the most part, and also like, if you have a business idea and if you have partners, it's just, like a partner, like I tell people, it's like you're married.
Right.
Because you're with this person all the time, your vision has to align together and
Communicate.
and communicate. And long term, you guys have to really make it work for the business to succeed. Thankfully, for all my 3 locations, all 3 of my different business partners, we all had the same vision, and we all strive for the end goal to be the same.
Nice. That's good. Awesome. So, off topic, but is there any? I think you mentioned earlier, but is there any favorite beer or alcohol that you have? You go like your go-to, and then you're like all-time favorite, or it could be multiple.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, before, like when I was growing up, I was used to I was very big into craft beer. So before the Voodoo Ranger became Voodoo Ranger, it was just called Ranger IPA. So their version of the IPA was like really good. That was my go-to, going to shows and stuff like that to drink it, and that was the thing to do, back then. So I used to like that, and then as I started, getting into more in food and pairings and stuff like that, I started getting into like the Mexican spirits, like mezcal, tequila. Nice. But for the most part, I really appreciate mezcal in the way it's distillerized, just the way the process of creating the whole cooking method, it reminds me almost like if it was barbacoa,
Right. Because I've had mezcal several times. I'm not a big fan, only because I could taste the
smokiness, right? I feel like
some of them I could taste the fattiness to it.
Okay.
Like an animal fat to them,
okay.
And the smokiness I can deal with because like añejos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But some of those they're just a little too strong for me. The flavor, I'm like, hey, am I eating something here right now? Or what? You know what I mean? Like,
no. For the most part, to be honest, like I tell people, mezcal it's an art behind it too. So it's one of those things where you're sipping, you're tasting the notes. It's like wine, it's like coffee. You're enjoying it, you're sipping it, you're tasting those note profiles behind it.
And I'm glad you bring up coffee, because at this very location, you mentioned about high-rated coffees that you guys have here.
So right here at this location, Distrito 14, we have Mexican specialty coffee. It's graded over 93 points and above. It's Café Estelar. We have hand-in-hand communication with them, so we're the only people that use that coffee here in the U.S. And again, like I mentioned, we're trying to create here like a hub here for the neighborhood, to different kind of ideas, different concepts for the neighborhood, could stay within, and not go out, and that's what I tell a lot of people, sometimes, we have to go out because there's nothing that's created within the neighborhood where you could, take a step back and be like, hey, you know what? There's something built here where we could all benefit from it, and that's why, people and the money doesn't stay within, your community.
Yeah. I did see, you guys do a lot of unique things at this location. I saw there was a drawing, right? I'm sorry, not drawing, but people were illustrating a nude artist, and that's I did participate in a drawing like that when I went to art school. I went to art school for a little bit, partied a little too hard, and I didn't take it serious, but I did appreciate the illustration portion of it. And I did do a drawing like that, and it was very, very cool, because you don't look at the naked body, you're actually drawing and you're paying attention. But it's really, really cool that a location like this, you're dealing with all kinds of different things.
Yeah, and it's like I mentioned to you earlier, all the stuff that we have in here, even the art that's around here in the restaurant. Right now we partnered up with Homeboys, and all their artists is from the Homeboy Academy, and they showcase their art here. People could come in and buy the art from us, and we don't stay with any of that money. All the money goes to the artists and stuff like that. But it's just a way, like again, mentioning like we're creating a hub for people to come out here and showcase their talent, whatever it is. We've collaborated with with different chefs. We've done 5-course dinners here. We've done fundraisers,
Nice.
everything. Even during pandemic, when COVID was very high, we had at the other restaurant, we had a community fridge. We would create meals for the people. We would have canned dry goods.
Nice.
We would give out for free, and just things like that for people, and even here we would do fundraisers. Even for Thanksgiving, we would give out. We partnered up with the YMC, giving over 1,500 meals and giving them turkeys and all that stuff, and it's just a lot of community work. And the reason why we do it is because the communities will build our businesses,
Right, yeah.
and we're always very appreciative of that, and then like I tell people, like if I would rather you come up to me at my restaurant and be like, hey, like like I'm hungry, I don't have money to buy the food, as opposed to you coming in here and trying to steal it from us,
Yeah, that goes
just ask for it, like we're always, so even at the other location, the taqueria, like we give out free food, to people and things like that. Like we know times are hard, and and it's always about building, and it's like, the more you build, the more people support you and your businesses and stuff like that. And again, like we're very fortunate that our community supports us around very good, so that's why we're always trying to give back,
Yeah, no, that's a great thing, because then you're gonna create lifelong fans. They're gonna be like, hey, they gave me a couple tacos when I was down.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna pregame here tonight. You know what I mean? Like
no, for sure. And even
it's
here,
awesome.
like we do this thing once a year. We do a 5-course dinner here, and all the funds that we give out, it goes to an orphanage in Tijuana. So I know this year I think we raised like over $5,000, and we took it to them. And even so some of these orphanage people that are there, like the kids, they're very young, from like months to like 17 years of age. And even to the point where we went over there with my business partner Guillermo. He's the one that introduced me to all this stuff. And I went out there, we cooked for them, did In-N-Out style burgers for them, because that's what they wanted,
Right.
We asked them like, hey, like what is this, something that you want to eat or try? And they're like, hey, like we heard about In-N-Out, but we never had it. So I'm like, okay, cool, like let's create something similar, like animal style fries, the double. We took it over there and we provided for the kids and everything, which is pretty cool, because it makes you feel good. Not only that, for your own soul, but it just like people nowadays take stuff for granted, to be honest. I tell people like we have it so good here, even though like times can be hard, but you don't know how like these difficult times is until you go to like a outside the world country and stuff like that, so that's what I tell people: be very appreciative of everything you have in life.
Right. Yeah, my wife she goes through this guy on Instagram, and he gets backpacks together for an orphanage in TJ. I don't know if it's the same one or not, and she'll donate a couple $100 because it's, you see the videos, you see the pictures of the kids, and they're orphans, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, because it's not their fault, it's not their fault.
So it's very honorable what you're doing, what you've done, and I hope you continue. And it's it's awesome.
And I even encourage anybody, anybody hearing this, and you guys ever want to go out there with us and provide a helping hand, like, and volunteer. We do it once a year.
Goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way. We take food, we pay for everything. But just having those smiles on the kids' faces, that's very important. Like kids are the future, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they really are. They it's what you show them is what they're gonna carry.
Yeah.
So let's do a cheers for that one, bro.
Cheers. Man.
Cheers. This one's a half and half. So like an Arnold Palmer.
Oh,
they probably can't use that name.
Yeah.
But hard charged tea, half and half. Yeah, this is probably the smoothest one so far.
Yeah, pretty smooth. It kind of like you said, it's like a half and half, but it's very mellow.
Not so bad. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing work.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like I mentioned, like even like I do a lot of like cooking demos too for like kids and stuff like that. Like right here down the street in Boyle Heights, the Boys and Girls Club, I've done a lot of work with them and kind of talk about like the business. And again, a lot of people, I feel that they get very like scared or very like cold feet about starting a business just because of the lack of knowledge, right?
Right.
And
A lot of paperwork. It seems very intimidating.
yeah, and like I tell people, like like sometimes you have to dig within your own city. Like I know here we have the business center here. Things like that. Like the city provides these funds for us to take advantage of them. And and people just don't get educated enough to do that. But that's why, like I try to, be here. And if people are always like they have any questions about how to start a business or whatever, like I always send them to my guy. His name is Josuel, right here at the business center. A really good guy.
Okay.
And he's the one that always helps us with a lot of business stuff as well.
Nice. A little burp, I know. We say, just sip on or should I get your call?
I'm gonna check it. It's cool.
Oh, there we go. So, is there any advice you would give to anyone that wants to start out? At let's say it's just me, like I want to start cooking or trying to get it into this field.
Yeah, I mean, like I tell people, just have a vision of where you want to get yourself to, or what it is you want to create with the whole cooking stuff. Don't get discouraged, because it could be very discouraging. It's a lot of competition out there, right?
Right.
Like I tell people, don't get discouraged. You always work hard, and hard work doesn't go unnoticed, to be honest, and just like be very like a sponge, absorb. Don't be scared to ask questions, because we don't all know it all, and all these questions you might create a different question where even the chef or anybody that probably didn't know any of this stuff will be like, oh man, like this person taught me something, so
right.
Always, like always tell people, man, be humble, be nice and ask questions, dude. Don't be scared to ask. Like the worst thing they can say is no.
Right. Yeah, that's one of my sayings. Worst thing, the answer is always no if you don't ask.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my saying. Peach. I don't like peach, but I've had a lot of peach flavors on this channel.
Okay.
I powered through it, and some of them are good. Some are good, but I'm not a peach fan. Let's do a little sip. I'm not a peach fan, but that was probably the smoothest one, in my opinion, out of all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like how as soon as it enters the palate, you could get that feel for the peach and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But personally, I like peach. I
like peach. Yeah, like I said, not a big fan of peach, but it's good flavor. So, is there any upcoming events that you're excited for, planning?
Yeah, I mean, so actually this weekend I have to cook out in Temecula, in wine country.
Nice.
So I'm one of the chefs that's being hosted, so each different individual chef is getting a different type of protein, and kind of you're creating one bite menu item where it pairs well with the wine. So my protein is duck.
Nice.
So I'm trying to think of, maybe I'm thinking flavors of like how I could utilize the whole duck, where I could put it into something, like maybe I'll do like a taco or something, or maybe like a tomatillo jam or something with it, and
what's funny is duck. I ordered some duck from this Chinese restaurant, and my wife, she thinks about like a baby duck.
Yeah.
So she was just like, and I was like, you've had it before. You just didn't know it was duck. Like, you liked it. Like, just have it.
I think a lot of people like you put your feelings and heart into things, and then you overthink stuff. So
everybody joins PETA all of a sudden. Duck is pretty good.
I mean, and like I tell people, like we're out here creating something unique, and again, we're not letting the animal die in vain.
Right, of course.
We're, like cooking for us is an art as well, and these flavor notes and stuff like that. We're just trying to elevate the food game, Yeah,
of course.
So that's kind of
what
I have going on this weekend, and
nice.
then And again, like I said, just if you guys ever are around Paramount, Paramount is one of the locations that I have. I recently opened and I partnered up with the people from they're called Ochateria Rio Luna.
Okay.
It's a Mexican coffee shop. So we created a concept called Birote Deli. It's we use birote salado, so it's
Nice.
like in that sense of the bolillo of Jalisco, right?
Okay.
So we do tortas ahogadas de camarón, one de lengua en salsa verde, a pork belly banh mi,
Nice.
barbacoa dip, like sandwich, and things like that. We also have like a breakfast program in there as well. We do ribeye chilaquiles,
Nice,
las
nice.
rancheras, and it's always like I mentioned, like Mexican straightforward, but we're elevating the cuisine a little bit,
Right,
like how we modernize
Sounds like
it.
it. Like that's
Yeah, so we try to modernize the thing, so it's a thing where you're getting comfort, but we're taking it to a different level.
Have you heard about that one? I think it's a taco stand in Mexico City that has a Michelin star.
Yeah,
That's
I think,
crazy.
and it's crazy because the guy, he's from Boyle Heights.
Really?
Yeah,
That's the city we're in, by the way.
Yeah, Boyle Heights. So the guy, he was, I think he was born and raised here in Boyle Heights.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's like pretty cool too to
Yeah,
hear, and
that's
it's like I tell
dope.
people, it's crazy how, again, like I tell people, like how Mexican cuisine is involved,
Right.
like recently, just like I think a couple months ago, they just started allowing those Michelin stars to be in Mexico, and that's like the Michelin group started hitting up different spots in Mexico, and that's where they're noticing the culinary change in Mexico. And
Right.
like if nowadays, to be honest, like if you see that, like you see a lot of people are using more Mexican ingredients or evolving into the whole Mexican game, to be honest. And,
Yeah.
and it's because like you mentioned, dude, it's like 32 regions, 32 places of Mexico where not every part of Mexico is different food,
It is.
and it's so big. And like I tell people, man, like the US fucked up not taking the whole fucking Mexico, to be honest, it's true though, because like you see nowadays, like people just want to, you see all the tourism in
Yeah.
Mexico and how much it's grown.
big down there,
It's big, so that's why, like I tell people, like Mexico's a very beautiful place,
It is.
and the motherland has a lot to offer as well, but I always tell people be very respectful with it,
Right.
and and like again, like I tell people, these different parts of Mexico have different offerings to offer as well, and then as a like chef, I could very respect all that stuff that Mexico has going on, to be honest.
A lot of my family is from Mexicali, the border town right next to Clayco, and but there is Chinese immigrants. that made
I heard,
fantastic.
there's like very good
down there.
Chinese food there.
So good, and it's crazy. And then what I've been told, because I haven't traveled too deep in Mexico, but like Mexicali is like very like protein heavy.
Yeah.
And I've tried other people's dishes from different states.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm used to Mexicali's, and it's
And
not
it's different. Even
Americanized,
your
but it's
tortillas, like the
Yeah, they
flour
are.
tortillas are
They're
very
different.
unique. They're very, very, even from the flour itself, that's what makes it unique, and a lot of
Right.
people try to, replicate that, but it's within the flour, and it's like, that's how you get like I have a couple chef buddies here that have restaurants too as well, from Mexicali, and done like the whole flour tortilla and stuff. And I have a question for you though.
Go ahead.
Go to taco spot or like go to food place that you might, I know you're from Mexicali, like where do you think, like, or like just in general, like a good flour tortilla, or just in general a taqueria or something, or a good Mexican food spot that you like to go to?
It's actually, as soon as you cross the border, you have to cross on foot. Hotel del Norte.
Okay.
It's kind of right across from it. There's a change place, where you exchange money. Around that area, it's very well lit, and it seems to be improving. But it's basically like a corner store taco stand.
Okay.
It's open late, and so not everybody, most people go there before they cross, because the line crossing back from partying.
So you would say maybe even at that, like it's a very good, like
The tortillas are great.
Tortillas, everything, the meat.
The meat is great. I've had a good experience every single time, sober and not so sober. You know what I mean? Like it's been good, and that's the only place that really sticks out of my mind. You know, because it sticks to the street food, but it tastes almost like high quality now.
That's good.
You know, it's kind of wild.
And it's like I mentioned to you earlier, you know, it's funny how all these like different types of the animal, right? Like I could give you a good example, like oxtail, right? I grew up eating oxtail from my mom. My mom used to do oxtail and salsa roja, and where it became a thing where oxtail lengua, you would go to the local lonchera, right?
Right.
El taco de lengua was 25 cents, right? Just because all these like cuts of meats that people didn't like was very cheap, and now you
Very
see
good.
how the culinary and the chefs are involving more of these cuts of meat where it's almost like becoming a high demand, where as opposed to price per pound was like maybe a couple cents, and now it's like fucking top dollar, like 12-14 bucks a pound, you know.
I remember when I first had my very first taco of lengua and cabeza. My dad just served it to me. I was in Mexicali. I was a little kid. I don't know. I had the first one. Oh, I thought it was delicious. The second one, delicious as well. And then he told me. So as a kid, you're like, oh, what the? But I didn't care because it was so good. So I was like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
But if you don't try it like that, without knowing, you're gonna sometimes judge it like,
Yeah, and it's
off of the tongue,
it's
off of the head.
it's all
But
mental.
It is all
you know?
mental, but it's delicious. Those are some of the top tacos.
Honestly, for me, like when I go to taquerias, cabeza and lengua, that's my
It has to
go-to.
be.
That's my
It's
go-to,
so
to be
good,
honest. Like,
you know, and
and it's like I mentioned, you know, just like the technique behind it, you know, like the way you're cooking the different parts of the animal for the cabeza,
Right.
you know, the lengua, the way you cook it, you braise it, you know, and then so it's all of that stuff, you know, where that's going back to like people don't see how much labor intense it is to create these dishes for you to be like, give me a taco still for 25 cents, like, dude, come on, you know.
It's very,
You know
very
what I mean?
difficult,
Like,
you know,
so, and people don't see that,
they don't.
you know, and I feel that, and just because, you know, like it was okay back then, it's our job as the next generation and come up to kind of showcase and show, like, again, like I tell people, educate. You have to educate people, or, you know, like once you educate people and they have a proper understanding, people are okay with it.
Yes.
It's about educating people, you know, and it's not even about like arguing, going back and forth with somebody. Educate them, you know. Like I feel we're all humans. We have common sense, to be honest, you know. And the way you start just educating people, you absorb things and you absorb the knowledge, and then you have a proper understanding.
Yep.
To be honest.
So, do you have any shout outs?
Honestly, I mean, thank you for having me in your podcast. To be honest, you know, again, like I mentioned to you earlier, you know, I don't really do these type of things. You know, I'm a very shy person. I'm very in my own shell.
Right.
But you know, again, like I said, like I do a lot of these, like, you know, I do it more for the passion for food and helping people, the community, and building a strong community. You know, I mean, just all my business partners do, to be honest, that are allow me to be as far as where I'm at, you know. My sister is my business partner at Milpa, so she's a very good like hard worker for the brand, you know. So she, you know, without her, it will be a pretty difficult time to kind of juggle myself, to be honest, because I feel like she's my very go-to where I need things. Right here where we're at Distrito 14, my partner Guillermo, you know, he's very in tune with myself of the vision and what we're providing for the community here at Boyle Heights and what we're trying to build within here. And then just my guys, you know, Birote getting that opportunity, you know, David and Ashley, you know, providing that, you know, that opportunity to open up another concept over there closer to home. I'm from Long Beach, you know, it's closer to home. One of my end goals is I want to open up something over there closer, you know. So I want to do something like that. So I'm getting closer a little bit over there, you know. So
I see you running a lot close to Ballast Point.
Yeah, so
I like Ballast Point.
Yeah,
that's
so
a nice view.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure. So I love Seal Beach, you know, like Seal Beach is my go-to. Is very calm, you know. Like I go running there a lot, you know. Again, like I said, I'm from Long Beach, you know, so it's you know, I love the water, dude, to be honest, you know. And then you're running there and you're getting that cool breeze, so it's like it's very Surrey could, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and like you said, Ballast Point and all that's there too. So
Yes.
maybe if you're working out, running, and you're like, oh, you know, I have to have a
Cheat
meal
meal.
or something. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
but yeah, man. So thank you again for having me,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy guy, and yeah.
What would you
So,
say? You want to chug the last
it's-
one?
it's- yeah, I guess maybe top it off and chug
Top it up. All right.
Woo! Oh, all right. Cheers. Well, all right, guys. That concludes our podcast, and thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye.
Tune in, sit down, it's time for the Broham's brews to shine. Sip it slow and take a seat. Join the chat, life's bittersweet.